You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
My mind's telling me no, but my body.
No,
I'm sorry. My bad.
No, that was good. Thank you.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Radio. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage.
It sounded better real time. My mind's telling me no.
I found.
What was with the quiver? Did you edit that in? Why was my voice quivering?
No, I didn't do it.
Isn't AI great?
Oh, did you send that to the amazing Daniel?
No, I'm gonna.
Shane, at least the guys laughed. I mean, I don't mean to be singing a song from that particular individual, but my mind's telling me no, but my body.
It seems. I don't know. It seems like you're a big fan. I don't really know. I mean, you said you're.
I am not.
You said you were a Drake guy, so I don't know.
It's not substantiated.
A minor. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by War Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets.
So I asked Caleb, I was like, because he usually tells me what to ride with for
Yeah.
music, and I was like, hey, I can't remember. Am I supposed to be a Kendrick Lamar guy or not? And he goes, he's all right. And I was like, okay, because, I kind of I like Drake. And he goes, yeah, the diss track gets too much love. Like it's, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, I feel bad. I feel better.
You feel better?
No, because Out of Breath Brian crushed me for the Drake reference.
Well, and then also your other son, Breeze,
Micah.
You're like, I kind of ride with Drake, and he's like, that's on you. He couldn't disavow that fast enough. He's like, that's on you.
Breeze has much stronger opinions about things than normal people. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. My mind's telling me no. Okay. Relax over there, short stack.
You asked like 5 times if I've edited it yet, so.
I didn't want it replayed because I know when you cut that stuff up, I hear them in succession, and that's probably my 12th or 13th one now. They're all good. They're all good.
Well, I know everybody was laughing.
I'm sorry. My bad.
I gotta find What's Amazing Daniel's Twitter handle?
It's the Amazing Daniel.
Do I not follow him?
Yeah.
That
was funny because we were talking about more money, more profit. Hey Shane, you're a miserable soul, but you'd be a lot less miserable with an extra $100 in your bank account, wouldn't you?
I don't know what happened. I don't know about a lot less miserable, but a little bit.
$100.
Amazing.
I can take out a light stretch that.
Amazing Daniel, drop your Twitter handle in the comments here so I can tag you.
I got it. I just give it to you.
Well, I'm trying.
Shane, how many weeks worth of groceries would $100 buy?
No, that's more like how many months? That's at least 2 months.
What?
I think it's about right.
Do you only eat ramen ever?
No.
Hey, so how many items did you get the other day at the 99-cent deal for Hy-Vee?
Probably 10.
10 items?
Yeah. 10 of the 99-cent ones, yeah.
And that's going to take you through how long?
I mean, that'll take me I won't go through it all at once. So I got items that I could kind of go through over a couple weeks.
That's wild.
I think that's close.
$100 is like lunch.
Oh my God. For who?
Me and Natasha.
Rockefeller.
Good morning again.
Elon.
Wow.
No, that's aggressive. $100 is aggressive for lunch. Yeah, I don't spend that much on lunch.
You're
usually.
giving me $100 lunch vibes in the quarter zip collared sweater, though.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I like to look nice.
Musk is probably using that for Kleenex.
They're still making him office across the street. He ain't quite back in good graces.
He's not quite there yet. Say, keep busy doing your little projects over
Well,
here.
at least they balked on the tariffs for a while.
Yeah, they backed off those a minute.
Better tighten up that border security, though. They'll be right back. So this is I'm desperate.
Go to warhorse.casino.com, by the way.
I'm desperately trying to stick to sports, but
You're doing your best.
I am. I went down this rabbit hole at the airport in Champaign.
The pain?
And I was going through like historical list of rankings of presidents.
Okay.
I know it's weird, but I just because it's such loose criteria. Like, how do you decide?
It's really hard to define.
Like with a 2 or 3 party system, if you count independents and all.
Well, and there's very different
but you know who's in consensus on a lot of lists?
Who?
Ronald Reagan.
Pretty high.
Yeah. And he has a
not at the Chicken Shack in Champaign though. We know that.
He has. Who asked where Reagan was? You or Evan?
Evan. Where's Reagan?
He has a recorded spiel on tariffs.
Yeah. And
I was like, ooh, that would go over like a lead balloon today.
Yeah.
He was very anti-tariff. And he had like this laundry list. So I went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into whatever. I'm not getting into tariffs this morning.
I didn't know. So I was so young.
Historically, most presidents have been pretty aggressively against tariffs.
I was so young into politics with Reagan.
Yeah,
but I was like,
that's early.
Yeah. And I used to think, I was like, if they bring a guy back twice, that's probably decent. But not everybody can be Walter Mondale.
A lot of
Fritz. That's Fritz.
A lot of
I used to love American history.
I do too.
But then but over time I couldn't figure out what to believe. So I was like, all right, that textbook's out. That textbook's out.
You spend too much time on TikTok.
I do. And I have a lot of, Burrs gets me that industrial foil.
Yeah.
So I can put a hat on.
Yeah, you put that.
Oh yeah. I got
antennas. Hat on.
And it's not even my fault. Kugler's the one that got me started on.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Tinfoil hat, guys.
You got to be careful with guys like Kugler.
I mean, we're going 20 years.
Because Kugler strikes, I don't know him nearly as well as you do. I barely know him at all. He's always been very nice to me, but we're not close. We didn't overlap.
Hard to tell his sarcasm?
Well, no, we didn't overlap. And so
I'm just talking about with his.
Well, so here's the problem is he's one of those guys that will kind of get you down that path because he thinks it's funny.
Oh, and then get me ran over.
And then you're like, oh, some of this makes sense. And he's like trolling you.
That's a good point.
And so he's like, oh, yeah. I mean, did you hear about the Dolphins? Not the Miami, but like, and so he gets you down this path and you're like, did you see this TikTok about how octopus are really aliens living in the ocean? And you're like, what the? And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then he's moved on. He never has thought about it again.
That's a good point.
I did that to a friend of mine. Shout out my guy, Dave. He listens to the show sometimes, but
That's pretty generic.
Yeah, Dave Sander. If you want if you want his government. Good dude, really fun time.
God, you get on my nerves.
But he loves Bob Seger.
Yeah,
loves Bob Seger. And
you did not just say Bob Seger.
I mean, he's pretty quiet.
Oh my gosh, he just came up.
Did he?
Oh boy.
So Dave loves Bob Seger, and so when we go and we do our jukebox days or whatever. He always plays Bob Seger. And one day I was just giving him a hard time. And I go, oh, man, Seger, he's a derivative hack. And then I just start naming off people that sort of sound like Bob Seger from the same era. And I'm like, he's ripping off Cat Stevens and he's ripping off Simon and Garfunkel. I'm just like running through things. People don't even sound like Bob Seger sometimes. And he's just sitting there like staring at me, completely flabbergasted. Like a month later, he comes to me, he goes, man, I haven't stopped thinking about that, trying to figure out
you had moved on
if Bob Seger was a derivative hack or not. I was like, oh man, I was just messing with you. Like I haven't thought about it at all since then. I was just in a mood that day.
And you wonder how people get on delayed response.
I feel like that with Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my barber got me on that.
What did he get you on?
The conspiracy theory and Big Pharma and his pilot.
Yeah, you got to chill on some of that stuff, man. You said that to me like the week he died.
Yeah.
You're like, what about Chinese pharmaceuticals? And I'm like,
he wanted to take
or any professional aviator outside of SkyMex because he drives them for a living will be like, never get in a helicopter. Those things are death traps.
Yeah, like
it's possible a helicopter is just a bad form of transportation.
I like foil.
Doesn't have to be a Chinese pharmaceutical deal.
When he was gonna move he wanted his own professional league in China. NBA felt threatened.
I'm sure. Yes. I'm sure that's exactly what happened. God,
I hate your delivery.
I'm sure.
Good morning again.
I'm sure Warhorse is glad they sponsored this one.
Yeah. We got some picks.
What do we got?
I don't know.
What do we got, Steve?
You know who I like?
Who?
I like Providence. I like Providence quite a bit.
I don't like Providence at all.
I know. So I figured you'd have some strong takes. I think they're catching 3.5.
They are catching 3.5.
Is it 3 and
It is 3 in the hook.
Why?
The only issue I have with this game is Creighton historically plays pretty poorly at Providence.
I like 3.5's not near enough.
So you think it's stinky?
Yep.
All right. So you like Providence plus the 3.5. What else?
Unfortunately, I actually like Washington, but I'm not going to lock it up.
Just afraid of the backlash. You don't want to get the haters.
Does that line make any sense whatsoever?
No, Washington's bad.
Like, and what do you think? Nebraska's tired?
That seems like they didn't come back, right? They stayed out there.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be tired. They're going to be fine. That honestly, those lines are pretty similar in terms of the Nebraska and Creighton lines tonight.
I know, but the other one I'll lock up if you want to. Take Stanford on the money line.
I'm going to log on to the Homer Network. I'm going to take Nebraska and I'm taking Creighton. Might throw a little parlay in there.
You're a hater.
HomerNetwork.com. That's EB. I'm Ravi.
Stanford will beat Wake Forest.
That's Bet On It, brought to you by War Sportsbook.